Hours after the condo collapsed, what is believed to be the first lawsuit was brought against the Champlain Towers South Condo Association. The class action lawsuit was filed on behalf of a nearby property owner and other victims. The lawsuit seeks more than $5 million in damages. Joining us now this morning is local attorney Latoya Williams Shelton. Good morning. Thank you so much for talking with us this morning.
Good morning. Good morning. No problem at all.
We should mention you are not at all affiliated with this case. You're joining us to talk about what we could see unfold in the coming days and weeks ahead.
That is correct. That is correct.
From your perspective, is this normal to see after these types of events this soon?
You know, that's kind of hard to say, whether it's something that usually happens or not. To go ahead and get this class certified, I think is a good idea. We know that we're going to have several claims that are going to come from this particular tragedy. So, you know, the timing, I can't really say, you know, whether or not that's something that happens on an average or not. I think that this attorney probably had, you know, one particular person, the representative of the class, to come to him. And, you know, now it's time to go ahead and get it done, because we know that there's, like I said, going to be a lot of cases that are going to come out of this particular tragedy.
The first of many. In these cases, what will the arguments be?
Most likely they're going to be talking about negligence. I mean, this is all about negligence. This is all about whether or not the property owner knew or should have known about the issues and the structural issues within the building. Did they have a duty? Of course they do, to protect invitees and other folks that lived in the building. And did they breach that duty? And then I think one of the main issues, what we've seen, or what I've seen personally, some back and forth on, is causation. Was their negligence a direct cause of this damage? Did they know? Could they have known about the structural damage, or what it could have caused? Or is this just something that, you know, they did not know at all? So most likely we're arguing about negligence and duty and breach of that duty.
Results in these cases, do you suspect they will be soon, in the weeks to come, months, years? How long could these take?
You know, you just never know. There is no way for us to say how long things like this will take. I mean, we still are in a search for people. And you know, my sincerest thoughts and prayers go out to these families that have already identified victims, and also families of those victims, families of, you know, potential victims, and who are still waiting to see what's going on with their family members. So things like this could take months. It could take years. They still need to certify the class, identify all the class members. Other people have options to opt out. They don't have to be a part of this class action. They could go hire their own attorney. So it definitely could take months. It could possibly take years.
What other legal repercussions could we see come from this incident? I ask that because this past week I had the opportunity to interview a structural engineer, and one of my questions to him, talking about regulations and requirement when it comes to these inspections, does he believe we will see a change in what we see when it comes to inspections? How often? We know in Miami they have a requirement within the city limits to inspect the building 40 years after its construction. Not all places have that. We also should mention this building was had just started that inspection process, that re-inspection process. What other repercussions do you suspect will come from this, or changes?
I mean, there definitely may be a look into how often these inspections need to occur, and maybe that needs to happen based on how old the building is. Because I mean, 40 years, that's a pretty long time, especially seeing as how this building sat right on the shoreline. I think a lot of I know that the professor that was talking about it, they were basically saying that at the time, I think that they were more so researching high sea levels and things like that and how they affected it. I also heard some of the residents basically say they'd come out on a beautiful day and see just piles and piles of water in the garage. So there definitely could be some differences in how often they inspect these buildings. I think that that's something that, you know, Miami in itself is probably going to more than likely be looking into, right? The mayor and everything else, because they want residents to feel safe. How do we know that buildings like that, buildings built, around the same time as that buildings in that vicinity aren't about to have the same issues? So maybe we do need to put some inspections in place that are not just 40 years out the way, but, maybe every 10 years or something like that. So, there could possibly be changes like that. But more than likely, as far as these lawsuits are concerned, we're most likely looking for injunctive relief and also monetary damages.
Attorney Latoya Williams Shelton, we thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.